Hey everybody, it's Greg Harrelson here, and it is I'm coming at you live, of course, in the Real Geeks Mastermind group. And one of the things that we all have in common, of course, as I say, is that we're all Real Geeks users, or I'm sure there's some people in here that you maybe have been past Real Geeks user, or maybe you're considering you Real Geeks for the first time. So, I've been using Real Geeks myself for many, many years, well over 10, maybe close to 15 years. I'm not sure exactly when Real Geeks started, but I'm a long time user. And I just want to share tips with you every single week as to how we leverage Real Geeks in our business. And today I'm going to talk with you about using Real Geeks to help with price reductions. Now that's a little different, and so my whole point in talking about this is to expand your mind as to what you can really do with a CRM like Real Geeks with the IDX application that we have. And so not only are we using this to generate a tremendous amount of buyer leads, whether we're advertising pay-per-click or whether we're building out our websites for SEO to get it optimized, ranked on Google at the top, and get a lot of organic leads, which we get a lot of organic leads. We're doing all those things: seller leads, buyer leads, etc., using the workflows. But today, I want to share with you something a little bit different. How, as a listing agent, maybe I'm taking some listings. If you got some seller leads or if you got some active listings, here's what you can do with Real Geeks and in leveraging Real Geeks and helping you not only stay in touch with your sellers, but more importantly, I want to earn the right to get a price reduction. So, right now, real estate agents are listing more properties than we have for the last couple of years. We are definitely taking more listings. I know somebody in my coaching program not long ago, last month, I should say, took 24 new listings last month. That's without that. He has buyer's agents, but that's not with his buyer agents taking any. That was actually just him listing those properties. And that was not a developer that gave him 20 lots. This is actually onesies and twosies. So there's a lot of listing going on right now. But as there's a lot of listing going on right now, there's also the chance in a lot of markets where the average days on the market is starting to creep up. So maybe instead of it being 7 days to sell a property, it's 70 days. Each one of our markets is different. But we do know across the country that it's common to see a real estate market and MLS to see an increase in the average days on the market that is that in the MLS. In other words, it's taking on average a little bit longer to get a property sold. So when we're dealing with that, where we're taking listings, but they're taking a little bit longer, there's a chance that a property could be put on the market and it's overpriced, it's not selling, and you're going to have a price reduction conversation with the seller. But a lot of agents do not want to have price reduction conversations with sellers because they feel like, oh, the seller's going to say to them, why didn't you just tell me this price before? Why did you overprice? They're afraid that they're going to get blamed for the fact that it's not selling. So when listings sit there, it's common for agents to just kick back and not really want to address the issue. The issue with asking for price reductions is most agents have not communicated in a way to their active sellers that earns them the right to ask for the price reduction. And that's where Real Geeks can come in. So let me just kind of walk you through. We take a new listing today. I want you to think outside the box, right? Think outside the box on how you can use leverage, say, Real Geeks. Outside of the box is this. We take a new listing today and we go ahead and already have pre-built a workflow. It could be an active seller campaign, meaning this is just a workflow. It's a drip campaign that's geared for your active sellers. Now, in my opinion, what I believe is that if a property is sitting on the market for 21 to 30 days, 3 weeks to 4 weeks, and it's unsold, it probably needs a price reduction. Now, you may say, yeah, but you know what? I get so many showings. I don't need to reduce the price. No, I would disagree. As a coach, I would say, if you're getting a lot of showings and it's unsold, then that means it's just slightly overpriced. If you're in a situation where you're getting no showings and it's unsold, then that means it's a bigger pricing problem. So a lot of showings, but still no sell tells me a lot of people are willing to look at it. So it's close enough on price that they'll take a look at it, but they must be finding value somewhere else because no one's actually buying it. So I believe in 21 to 30 days, if you have not got a property sold, it probably needs a price adjustment. Some of you will argue with that, but just bear with me. I've been through this quite often. I do sell quite a bit of property still today, and have done so in my career. And I understand price reductions. At least hopefully you'll gather that by the time that we end the call today. So you got to earn the right. Now, I believe if you're going to ask for a price reduction in the first 3 to 4 weeks of having a listing, then I believe it's going to be important to have an active seller workflow set up in Real Geeks. So I'll give you an idea. The email one could be in 7 days. In 7 days. And the email could be, here's what hey, just wanted to follow up with you. Here's the few things that I've been doing in the first week to give your property maximum exposure. And then list a few things that you do. Maybe you put it in the MLS. Maybe you sent it out to a list of your buyers. Maybe you did some social media promotion. I don't know what you did, so I can't tell you what to do, but what I can tell you is you should be doing something in the first 7 days, and you should also communicate to the consumer or your active seller what you're doing. And if you're building a good real estate business, then you have a process that in the first 7 days, you do these 5 steps for every listing that you take. So it'd be easy. If you have a process, then share that process in an email that goes out on day 7 of you having the listing. Have the listing today, put them into your seller into Real Geeks, kick off the workflow, active seller workflow, and on day 7, they should get something that says, here's what I've done in the last week to give your property exposure. You're going to communicate with them that you're working, that you're doing something, and you do that in the first week. Then your second sequence in your active seller workflow would be on day 14. Now on day 14, you want to communicate again. You said, here's what I did in the first week. Now on day 14, you could communicate. Maybe you could send them a link. Maybe you could record a video for a market update, not a video just for their particular property, but maybe you could record a market update, which I do all the time for my market. I'll record an update on what sales have transpired, what the market's like in my overall MLS. I put that on YouTube. I take the link. I then embed it into an email. So day 14, there's an email that goes out and says, hey, I'm paying attention to what's going on with your property. I'm monitoring everything. I just thought I would share a quick little video on how the market's going. Please take a look at this video. Let me know if there's anything I could be doing for you. In the meantime, I'll continue trying to find a buyer for your property. That could be day 14. So we got a touch on day 7, a touch on day 14. Then the sequence should continue on day 21. On day 21, you can send them another email. Maybe you send them a text. You can kind of design it how you would like to do it. You send them an email, and it can be as simple as this. Because remember, the sequence has to be kind of the type of emails that you can send all the time, so you're not having to change this every single week or every month. So you'd have to send in day 21, hey, I just want you to know I'm paying attention to, your property. I've been doing some research, kind of updating all my listings. I've got some information I'd like to share with you, maybe make a recommendation. I just want to give you a heads up. I'll be calling you in the next few days. Also on day 21, you set up, so when you're building a workflow, you can either send a text, you can send an email, or you can send a follow-up. Now, a follow-up is, a lot of people don't know this. A follow-up is when you can send a message to yourself that doesn't go to the consumer. So do a follow-up and put in there, schedule this seller for a price reduction call. So you see how I'm doing this? I'm earning the right to ask for a price reduction. On day 7, communication. Day 14, communication. Day 21, communication. Day 21, reminder to Greg Harrelson, to set up this, to call this seller for a price reduction. And see, when I get that alert to call them, I already know that these other communications have already went out over the 21 last days. That's how you can use the workflow to communicate with an active seller and set you up for a price reduction. Now, that's not the only thing that I do. What we're going to do is this. We're also going to use Real Geeks to educate. So when I get a seller, let's just assume I list the property today. Step number one, activate them in my active seller workflow after I put them into Real Geeks. Step number two, activate them for a sold report. I want them to get a sold report as frequently as you can deliver it. So what you do is you go and you set them up on a sold report to receive alerts when the property is sold, or a property in that neighborhood or area is sold. And if your property was listed at $400,000, then you put max price of $400,000. So what that means is they're going to get all the solds that sold since they've been on the market. So if one sells next week, they're going to get a notification of one that sold, but I only want them to see the ones that are sold below 400,000. So if there are sales and comps that are taking place that are lower than what we have theirs priced for, I want them to see it. I'm warming them up so they can be notified when properties are selling in the neighborhood for less price than what we're asking. That's going to help when I go to ask for a price reduction. The second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on a new listing alert. I'm going to save them for new listings. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have them receive new listings for that type of property, but I'm going to put max price, their list price. So they're going to see anytime a new listing comes on the market that's similar to theirs, they're going to see those that are priced below them. So they're going to see sales that are priced below them, active listings that are priced below them. They're getting your 7-day email, your 14-day email, your 21-day email. In my opinion, this is earning the right to ask for a price reduction. So I'm communicating with them, which they love communication. I'm communicating them through the workflow. I'm educating through new listing alerts and sold reports. Now, some of you may say, yes, but our MLS or our state, we're a non-disclosure state. We don't allow sold data. Well, I got it. So, then you probably wouldn't be able to do that because the sold data is not accessible to them. But what you can do is use the new listing alerts. Now, if you want to do an advanced technique, when you set them up for a sold report or a new listing alert, you can also set yourself up for the same alerts. And when you name the search, name it their last name. So you're going to get a notification yourself. Like you're a user, you're going to get a notification when something's listed lower than what you've listed it for, which then when you get that notification, they also got that notification. So you could actually call them or you could text them. You could get a notification that another property came on the market in that area for $10,000 less. And they got that notification because if you're getting it, they're getting it. So later on in that day, you could send them a text. Hey, John, I just wanted to check in. Did you see that notification, that new one that was just listed? I'm going to keep my eyes on it and just let you know. I'll kind of keep you up to date, but I just wanted you to notice that. See how I'm working with Real Geeks here? I'm using Real Geeks to help me provide better value, better service, better communication, better insight to my active sellers. A lot of people think that Real Geeks is just go buy some PPC leads and generate some buyer leads. People don't realize how many other things that you can do with the Real Geeks IDX, the CRM. By the way, you should be buying PPC in my mind. As long as you've got a good follow-up system and you're willing to call these buyer leads. Yes, I use Real Leads myself for PPC. Real Geeks is running, I think I've got 3 or 4 different markets right now that Real Geeks is doing the PPC on for me. Heck, man, in one of my markets, They generated 98 leads in the last 30 days for me and my agents. So it's working for us. It is working for us. Again, about price reductions, this is just one idea that you can do that's outside the box with this CRM. Now, I understand a lot of you probably say, well, I don't have a lot of listings. Great. So it's not a lot of work. If you've got one listing, I suggest you do this. If you got 10, I suggest you do this. And listen to this video over and over again so you can kind of make the notes of the details. Now, a lot of you know, some of you don't know, you could be new to these recordings, that I do have a coaching program that's around Real Geeks. Meaning I have a coaching program called Real Geeks Mastery. You can go to rgmastery.com and learn more about it. And basically what it is I'm opening up the, kind of like what we do. I'm kind of like opening the hood, lifting the hood so you can see how we're actually generating thousands of transactions utilizing the Real Geek CRM. And yes, I said thousands of transactions because we do thousands of transactions each year, and Real Geeks is our primary CRM, and it's our primary, resource for generating buyer leads, and we do generate a lot of seller leads. So in RG Mastery, it's a group call that I have every week, and I explain to you things like this with the price reductions, or how to actually build the website so you can eventually get organic leads, blogging, interlinking, advanced search filters. We give you workflows. I just wrote a bunch of new workflows, and I give them all for free to my Real Geeks Mastery coaching clients. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, you just go to rgmastery.com and check it out. Now back to the thought on price reductions. Once you've done what I shared with you, you've got the workflow set up, 7 days, 14, 21 days. And then on the 21 day, you're also alerting yourself as a reminder to call them for a price reduction because you know that you've hit them. Boom, boom, boom. Now you're going to call. So the first step was using Real Geeks to communicate. The second step was using Real Geeks to educate. Now, what you want to do is you let Real Geeks remind you that you need to make the call. And now you call your seller and you say, hey, I've been keeping you up to date. Hopefully that, that you can see that I'm paying attention. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of talk with you and just share with you what's going on in the market right now and make a suggestion to you. See, the 21-day email says, hey, I've been doing some updates. I'm preparing to kind of give you an update. I'm going to call you in a few days. I got some information I want to share with you and make a suggestion. See, I'm already future pacing in the third email in the workflow that I'm going to make a suggestion. Now I'm going to follow up with a call and say, hey, I wanted to give you some information. And on that call, I'm going to make a suggestion. This whole process makes asking for a price reduction simple. I deal with a lot of agents, coach a lot of agents, have a lot of agents in our company, and everyone's afraid of asking for the price reduction. And the reason why I believe they're afraid is because they have not earned the right to ask. So there's this thought, there's this process. You give to them, you give to them again, you give to them again, and then you ask. Give, ask. We're given information, we're given information, we're given information. And then after we've given 3 times, that's when we're asking for something, asking for the price reduction. You follow this process, you're going to get a boatload of price reductions. And at the same token, you're going to have less unsatisfied sellers. They're going to appreciate the communication, the education, and they're going to reciprocate by making a price reduction. So I hope you found that helpful. I just wanted to throw a little curveball in the topics today and talk about something different. Of course, next week I've got another topic that you're going to love. It's going to be a way more back into leads, etc., conversion, and all these other things. So feel free to comment in the chat section. I do check that throughout the day after these calls, and to make sure that I answer any questions that might come up. Please please consider checking out Real Geeks Mastery, rgmastery.com. I'd love to help you monetize this website, grow your business. The market is getting better and better. So if we actually get better at the technology at the same time that the market starts to get better, you can really have a breakthrough year. If there's anything I can do for you, put it in the chat. Talk to you soon, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.